You're listening to Odyssey, A Tale from the Road, an audiobook by Christopher Cologne. All rights reserved. Any resemblance to persons living or dead are purely coincidental.
Chapter 8. I didn't stick around to hear Arnie's response. I could only imagine how pissed off he would be over his son's stupid answer. We all needed to get out of there before Arnie's men show up. I don't know how close his men could be, so we had to disappear, as soon as humanly possible. Plus, I wasn't aware who worked for Arnie. So I wouldn't even know who or what to look out for. Then it dawned on me. Not only was this Arnie's son, this was the governor's nephew. Holy shit. Not only would we have Arnie's mafia buddies looking for us, we're also going to have the police after us too. Cops and crooks, all of them wanting out heads on a platter. Nowhere was safe. From gangsters to petty crooks, from state police to the local deputy dogs, we're going to be on everyone's most wanted list. In matter of hours, we won't be able to show our faces anywhere in New York State. I never wanted to be home as much as I do right now. When I got outside, the barmaid and the other stripper were gone. The only car left in the strip club's parking lot was a big dark blue classic Cadillac. The engine was running. Corey, Dimitri, and Jimmy were sitting in the back seat. Those old caddies were boats, and 3 full-grown men could easily fit in the back seat comfortably. Miranda was sitting in the passenger seat. They were all just waiting for me. What if, somehow Gabby had gotten to me and came out the club trying to kill them? They weren't prepared for that. I was flattered that they had such faith in me to just sit there and wait for me to come out at my own leisure. I felt like a family man. My wife and my 3 below-average sons were waiting for their daddy to come and take them away from the big scary monster. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I hopped in driver's seat and peeled rubber. It felt like I was floating on a sea of clouds. The caddy's suspension system was giving us such a smooth ride. This was Gabby's car. It made sense. A big guy needed a big car. Screw the fact that this thing got 8 miles to the gallon. Gabby needed a big car to make up for his other shortcomings. And the Cadillac was the preferred car for crime syndicates. It was luxury, status, and plenty of trunk room, enough to fit a body or two. A pang of guilt hit me in the stomach. I really needed to do something about Raphael's body to safety. But I couldn't do anything for him if we ended up in the same shallow grave. I needed to get us to safety. Then we could step back and assess the situation. I'm glad you took his keys. I told Miranda. It was my pleasure. He loved this machine. I wonder how many of my lap dances went into paying for this thing. All the hard work us girls did for that guy. I can't even afford a car, and he gets to drive in luxury. Miranda was getting angry again. I asked her, you don't have a car? Then how do you get to work, all the way out here, in the middle of nowhere? My roommate drops me off and picks me up. She's from Brazil too. We both work for Arnie Ellis. I thought you worked for Gabby. I was confused. Well, Gabby was my boss. The same way my roommate also has boss, different from Gabby. But it's all under his father. His father is involved in a lot very bad things. One of Arnie Ellis' men brought us over from Brazil. I believe you Americans call it indentured servitude. Jimmy joined in the conversation. I've heard of stuff like that happening in Brazil. It happens in Colombia, too. These guys go over to Central and South American countries and they find beautiful women and promise them a better life in the United States. These guys prey on these naive girls, by spending money on them and filling their heads with stories of a wonderful life in the USA. They pull strings and smuggle the girls over to the country. And the minute the girls get here, they change the whole story around. Some guys use violence and some guys just use a pimp psychology and get these girls to work as strippers, masseuses, and prostitutes. They make the girls pay off the debt it took to get them into the country, by selling their bodies and such. Of course, these pimps live good, while the girls are kept fearful and barely living. After about a year or so, they let the girls go, and they get a new batch of women to exploit. The women are fearful of deportation or retaliation, so they never report these slave traders to the police. It's all very hush-hush, but it's happening all the time. I guess some women are just convinced that they should be happy that they were brought over to the land of the free. Ironic, huh? That's exactly what happened to me and my roommate. Miranda was then gripped in fear. My God, we have to get to my roommate before she comes to pick me up tonight. She doesn't know what's going on and I don't want her to get hurt for what we did. Please, I need you to drop me off at her job, before she gets out to come pick me up. Then you can go your own way if you want. She has a car, we could take care of ourselves. We just need get away from all this and start a new life somewhere else, a life we could call our own. Wouldn't she be working for one of Arnie's men? That would mean driving towards people we should be driving away from. Please, you have to take me to her, Miranda begged me. She is in enough trouble as it is, being my roommate. I won't get you guys involved, I promise. Leave me near her job and I'll walk the rest of the way. I could handle myself, if Arnie's men have caught word of what has happened. I'm not about to let you walk into a trap, either, I said. If those guys see you and they think you know where we are with me, they will torture you, to get that information. So don't tell me where you're going. They can't get me to tell them something, if I don't know the answer. She was so sure of herself. And they'll end up just killing you. I can't live with that kind of guilt. Corey was upset. I don't see how any of this is any different that you just leaving Raphael's body to rot back there with that one-eyed freak. Let her go if she wants to go. It'll be her funeral and not ours. I shot back, and that's exactly why I refuse to let her go. The difference between her and Raphael is that fact that she is still breathing. I aim to keep her that way. It was too late to help RAF. I can handle myself. I've dealt with Arnie's son for all this time and he was obviously one of Arnie's favorites. The rest of his guys are no match for me. They are all just a bunch of pendejos, who think they are big guys because they hit women and get away with it. Not anymore. Miranda's starting to get restless. Just let me out right here and I'll walk the rest of the way from here, if I have to. Okay, we'll drop you off. Just relax. I'm not going to leave you here in the middle of nowhere. Do you know the directions on how to get there? I have no idea where I'm going. Miranda responded, yes, I know exactly where we're going, and we're already headed in the right direction. Just keep following this road until we see an old abandoned church and then we make a left. Here we go again with the landmark directions. What? She asked. Nothing. I suddenly missed my road maps that I left behind in the stink box's glove compartment. We were outside of Miranda's roommate's job a lot faster than I thought we would be. We may have been following archaic directions, but they were speedy nonetheless. It was another strip club. A big neon sign announced the Foxy Den. What a name. All this time on the road, and all I've seen are bars, wheat fields, and strip clubs. Was that all there was out here? I guess so. My stomach sank as we pulled the caddy into the dense parking lot. Arnie's men were in there. I could feel it. At any moment they would come out, surround the car and give us an aluminum baseball bat message. Just as I put the car in park, a beautiful woman, who easily could have been Miranda's sister, stepped out of the club. She was pulling behind her one of those wheeled suitcases that most strippers use to keep their outfits in. That's her. Miranda said excitedly as she flung the caddy's door open and ran over the roommate. They embraced. We heard the muffled noise of the pulsing music inside the club vibrate the otherwise quiet night. We could hear the voices of Miranda and her roommate converse in Spanish in an inhumanly fast pace. I knew a few Spanish curse words that I learned from Jim, but I could tell that the roommate sounded happy to see Miranda. Then the roommate's voice turned grim. Jimmy felt my stress and started to translate. Her roommate says that the guys that ran the club had gotten word that the Paradise Cavern had been attacked by a bunch of hooligans. They know that the people that did it had blinded Gabby. Nobody suspects that Miranda was involved. The roommates is just happy to see that Miranda wasn't hurt in the struggle. They are looking for 4 guys, with the body of a 5th one dead in the club. Corey spoke up, see? It's just like I told you. We should have never left Raphael behind. Shut up. I'm trying to listen to Jimmy. I said. Jim started to translate again. They said that the 4 guys stole Gabby's dark blue Cadillac. At that very moment, one of guys that was working in the club stepped outside and lit a cigarette. I saw him out the corner of my eye and called out Miranda. Miranda had stopped talking to her roommate and also saw the doorman of the club. She called out to me, go. Get out of here. Don't worry about us, we can take care of ourselves. I love you, Pappy. Why the hell did she just say that? The doorman had come to grips on what was transpiring in the parking lot. He was so in shock, the cigarette he just lit fell from his agape mouth. I heard him say holy shit. He then hollered into the door of the club, they're out here. Guys, get out here, quick. It's the guys Arnie was looking for. Miranda's roommate ran and quickly unlocked the door to her car so they could both get in. It was a sporty, compact, sunflower yellow car. The perfect feminine car. That little thing had heart. It kicked up a lot of dust as it fishtailed its way out of the parking lot. Through the dust and the darkness I could see Miranda's face. We had made eye contact. For that split second I had seen, what could have been, the rest of our lives together. Marriage, kids, white picket fence, the whole 50s, Norman Rockwell paintings, black and white television, cornball ideal. I've had several women tell me they love me, even if it was after only knowing each other for a few hours. This wasn't some lap dance area of a strip club. She wasn't putting on an act to get to my money. I had felt an honesty in her words. She meant it. There was one small problem. I was a heavy metal guitarist and she was an illegal immigrant stripper. People like us don't get the happily ever after ending. The universe didn't allow people like us that luxury. And, in another split second, she was gone. The little car disappeared into the horizon of the country road. By that time, all of Arnie's angry mobsters had spilled out into the parking lot. They wanted us dead. It was nothing personal. They were just doing what they had to do to make their boss happy. I turned the car keys and the caddy's big block engine roared back to life. Much like, when I was avoiding running into the Ciccone family, I had chose to drive in the opposite direction that Miranda and her roommate had gone. I was going to lead this group of assholes as far away from Miranda as I possibly can. She may have been foul-mouthed and ill-tempered but, damn it, she was a lady. What was it about bad girls that I liked so much? Miranda had reminded me of Penny, in her own kind of way. Both of them didn't take shit from anybody. Both of them had been beautiful, but not in the delicate flower kind of way. They were beautiful in the thorny rose kind of way. Should I feel guilty for having these feelings for Miranda, since I already dedicated myself to Penny? I don't think so. I can love them both. There's no law saying you can't love two women. Am I sounding like a Mormon?
Please visit twostrangersonePodcast.net.